Buy and hold no longer works. You'll just be watching your retirement money go down the drain. This guy said in a comment on my YouTube channel yesterday. I just laughed. What are you barking at? I just laughed because I've heard this 1,000 times a Sunday, and they're always wrong. I said, this one guy will build a market time successfully and be advantageous with his market timing. Stop! I'm trying to do a video. He just wanted someone to say hello. And there's Pablo. They just want someone to play with. There they go. All right. Anyway, so the whole thing of buy and hold doesn't work. It's just freaking silly, man. Market timing doesn't work. Just a simple fact. You cannot time the market adequately to be better in your portfolio than you could if you just sat back and did nothing. As Louis Rucaz used to say, don't just do something, sit there. And 100%, it's the only way to go. All right. But then on the heels of that, I came across this article that just came in my inbox today by Harold Evensky, who's been around my way in this my neck of the financial, or my neck of my labor, financial planning for many, many years. Harold is. It's him and Dina Katz, if memory serves, out of Florida, who've been pretty active in financial planning industry for many, many years. And this is an odd article. He says, staying the course no longer works. So I actually tend to agree with what Harold's saying, but he says it oddly, and I'm not quite sure I buy into his reasonings here. And it's almost like everything, we have this false dichotomy of, but I'm just going to that because I think we're conflating two things that are absolutely opposites that we shouldn't conflate. All right, so Harold, he's got a new book, Harold, right on. He says, ever since the market debacle triggered by the Great Recession, staying the course no longer works, and modern portfolio theory is dead has been popular headlines in the financial media. Well, see, this is what I don't like. Because modern portfolio theory is silly on its face, man. Modern portfolio theory, well, I shouldn't say silly. The idea that there's evidence or science behind this is what these guys use. And I'm not saying Harold does it, but I know a lot of people do evidence-based investing, as the DFA guys always talk about. I'm doing evidence-based investing. I said, okay, so what was the evidence that you had up until Q1, 2022? Government bonds has never sank along with stocks like happened in Q1, 2022. It never happened like that. So what's your evidence? The evidence is modern portfolio theory, which says diversification, efficient market hypothesis. All this stuff is silly. There is no science or evidence for investing. There's just none. Can we stop with this, for heaven's sake? There's not enough data sets, as I talked about 2 days ago, to giving any statistical relevance at all as to what's going to happen. None. It's all speculation, 100% speculation, regardless of what your previous data set said. There is not enough. There's all noise. There's not enough sample size. I cannot stress this enough. There's never been a case where government bonds fell, I think probably even more than a lot of stocks did in a quarter. That has never happened. So how do you explain that under modern portfolio theory? You can't. You certainly can't explain it under efficient market hypothesis. I know people do. There's no evidence. There's no science to this. Now, staying the course, so modern portfolio theory has always been dead because it's just assuming that we say we take all these different assets, we put on the efficient market, we put on the efficient frontier, whatever it is, and that'll give us a max return for risk. It's the economics, the physics envy, and the physicists have the math envy. It's the same thing here. Mathematicians took over, physicists lost to mathematicians, so physicists had to throw a bunch of math in their works to show that they were smart. Economists lost to physicists and mathematicians, so economists had to come up with econometrics, Paul Samuelson, to show that they're smart. And now in financial planning realms, investment managers, we had to show how smart we are by following these economists who use these fancy numbers. And this is what drives me crazy right here. Oh, boy. He says, we heed the advice of Harry Markowitz, Nobel laureate and the father of the modern portfolio theory. Oh, can we stop with the Nobel laureate stuff? I with a passion, how I despise using the Nobel laureate. Look at us, we got this Nobel laureate. It's like the Pope, man. The Pope isn't he's a Pope. He's what do they say? Now I'm drawing a blank. Jesus is the only one without sin, infallible. And some people actually make a claim that the Pope is infallible. It said he's just elected by other politicians who happen to wear the freaking thing. That's it, man. Just because you got Nobel laureate doesn't mean crap to me. It doesn't mean freaking crap to me. And we can see that. Look at Schiller. He's got a Nobel laureate. Look what his cape has done. Nothing. Does that mean Schiller's stupid or bad guy? No. But can we stop attributing these guys as if they're freaking scientists? They're not. Look at freaking Paul Samuelson. I don't know if he got a Nobel laureate, but he did. Or if he did or not. But he's a father of modern economics with econometrics. And what did he say in 1989? That the communists are going to take over us. I mean, all these guys. Look at freaking long-term capital management with Black-Scholes. They're Nobel laureates. They didn't do crap. Are they bad people? Are they stupid? No. But can we stop with this freaking credential? Like, oh, Nobel laureate. I hate it, man. Drives me up the wall. Marquis says, the first stage starts with observations, experience, and ends with the beliefs about the future performance of available securities. I completely agree. What's your future performance expectations? One suggestion is to tentative risk and returns to use observed risk and return for some period of the past. I believe there are better methods which take into account more information can be found. So he's basically saying, don't use historical rates of return for future projections. Completely agree. But what I don't like, you guys are bouncing. These guys are bouncing around. They're missing their mama. But I don't like this idea that because you say, all right, let's just keep reading because right here. I don't like this either. What surprised me is that the critics seem to believe they had just discovered the truth when in reality a new group of gurus discovers the same truth after every bear market. Well, who are these new gurus, Harold? Why don't you name them? These critics typically claim that allocations are solely and simplistic based on projected historical data and traditional methodology that assumes valuation is irrelevant. They are determined at the beginning of the investment process and are never changed except when they're rebalanced. Who said that? So who's he attributing this to? This could be very straw man. I said that in the comments. I said, this is like straw man. If there's Google's up, these guys want to go outside. Let's go. Come on, let me pause it real quick. I agree with Harry, basically saying that the new gurus are assuming valuations are irrelevant. No one's saying valuations are irrelevant. No one's saying that. We're just saying, what else are you going to do about it, man? You can dump everything in gold or Bitcoin or bonds. I don't know who these new group of gurus are. I'd love for Harry to have identified them so we can read what they have to say and we can defend it or attack it accordingly. But I don't like when we straw man things because look, and you can tell it's the beginning of a sentence or it's not even the beginning of the sentence. So what was the other thing? Anyway, no one is sitting there saying methodologies that assumes valuations are relevant. No one's saying that. Whoever Harold's talking about, what we're saying is they are relevant, which is why we have lower than return projections, than historical projections. The whole thing is weird to me. Let's see. I certainly, developing my recommendations for allocations of bonds and stocks, I developed forward-looking estimates for returns, risk, and relative movement. All right. But this... Everyone does that, Harold. Everyone does that. Well, I don't understand why you're saying now then see, I don't believe in modern portfolio theory, so you're going to throw me in with this? But I do believe in staying the course. Wellington, Wellesley, VTI, VTV, I don't care what it is. You buy the doggone thing and leave it be. That's the only way to make money in this stuff. But that mean I'm one of the new gurus because I don't buy into modern portfolio theory? I don't have any international exposure. Why? Because I don't believe that international stocks have any future. I don't. I just don't. I'm sorry. If that makes me a bad guy, I don't care. I'm biased towards the United States because America kicks ass. America. Part two of that, the international economy is freaking... look, man, there's no international markets that are very attractive. China? Are you freaking kidding? I'm not calling Harold here. Are you kidding me? Japan? Huh? Russia? Ukraine? Ukraine's attractive if you're on the inside with old Zelensky. Well, it's Europe? What? Europe's dead, dude. Only other international market that's attractive is Africa. But I mean, even then, they're going to be dominated by the World Health Organization because a lot of these politicians sell their countries out for quick money. Latin America? You kidding me? It's the USA or bust, baby. Even with freaking Sniffy Joe. And so that would avoid me from modern portfolio theory. But I still believe in stay. What's the other one here? Buy and hold or staying the course. Yeah, well, let's see. For example, my projections for future returns are modest relative to past returns. Okay. No one's... Well, there can be no guarantee that these estimates will turn out to be correct. They certainly take into consideration not only the past, but the current market environment, as well as expectation regarding future changes. So it's like we're trying to make an issue that where none doesn't exist. I don't understand. And you can't throw in people who challenge modern portfolio theory, because obviously I do if I don't have international stocks or high yield funds. You can't throw me in with a staying the course no longer works, because you can be both of these things. I mean, you can be this and not be that. That's what's that? Is that the opposite mutually exclusive? Oh, Tom, I can't remember. Anyway, let's keep reading. Regarding the criticism when allocations are determined at the beginning of the investment process and never change, no one, except when they're rebalanced, a strategy I call buy and forget. Unfortunately, many practitioners do follow this ostrich-like policy. But what? What's buy? What is wrong with that? But this criticism should be leveled at those practitioners setting their policies in stone. There's nothing in the literature to suggest that a policy allocation should not be revisited or revised when and if forward market expectations change. But it's like we're making a mountain out of a molehill here. I don't understand. So now we're sitting there, oh man, our forward expectations change. Let's change the allocation. Well, that's not buy and hold, man. Jeez. What are you going to do that every month, every quarter, every year? Small caps are up, so we're going to reduce our exposure to small caps and increase our exposure to large. I mean, I get that. That's somewhat market timing, though, is it not? Yes, it is. Because you're saying I'm predicting this will do better than that simply because my future valuations have changed relative to what happened in the last 12 months. That seems like the epitome, the exact opposite of buying and holding. You say, I'm going to move around. I'm going to be somewhat market timing. Market timing based on what? Oh, based on what my projections are, because the last 12 months, small cap value did this and large cap stocks did that. It's an issue that is not warranted. And the straw man thing is that no one ever says, I would say, why are you, okay, well, I guess I do say, I say, look, if you've got a strategy, why would you change it? Because then means you can change it whenever you feel like you need to change the strategy. And what kind of strategy is that? People do whatever the hell they want. I don't care. I don't like this idea, though. They just come some noble warrior that says this, that, and the other. We got to follow that and say, yes, sir, efficient market hypothesis or modern portfolio theory. And then to say buy and hold is dead. Well, it's not dead. Well, what are you doing? I'm not buying and holding. I'm buying and managing it. Aha, big difference. And look, I'm not here to criticize this guy. I just think it's a freaking making a mountain out of a molehill with no reason to be at all. If people want to actively, so they're going to say, I don't actively trade because market timing, but I do manage. What the hell's the difference? Well, the valuations, Josh. The valuation based on what? Schiller? Did you watch the video I just did yesterday with Schiller, maybe 2 days ago. Schiller in 2015 was basically saying when valuations are this high, you should reduce your exposure to stocks. Yeah, how'd that work for you, baby? Now, again, he'll be right eventually because the market will go down, hell, by this guy, I'm not even sure it can go back down to 2015. I got no clue. Anyway. Frustrating. All right, love to hear your thoughts. Buy and hold still works. I don't care what anybody says. Modern portfolio theory is still dead. All right, we'll see you.